I apologize. It's a little messier than usual. It's always kind of messy, but no, maybe it's not that bad. I just don't feel that great. I keep getting into this thing. I keep staying up too late and feeling like trash. It's not good for anyone to constantly do that, but when you have like bipolar disorder and all that stuff and you already have chronic insomnia, it's like, yeah, you're not helping your insomnia by just saying, let me just keep on watching these videos even though it's 3 o'clock in the morning. But then of course I end up feeling like crap and it lingers the whole day. I don't feel sleepy. I just feel like crap. So today's February 1st. Over the last couple weeks, I realized I wanted to make videos a little more often. So I don't know if any of you remember this, because I don't know how long ago it was, to be quite honest, but I had said on some video that my videos were better years ago, despite the fact that I was dealing with domestic violence every day of my life and was pretty much psychotic, and I was pretty much in a psychotic crisis every day, and which was eventually why I had stopped making videos for like 3 years, because I was just so sick that I couldn't pretend anymore, even on a video, that there was nothing wrong. But I was like, these videos are so much better, and I was making them more often, and blah, 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 blah. What happened? And of course, I mean, post-trauma, you're a completely different human being. Just your perception, your thought process, things are different. And then you combine that with relapsed Asperger's symptoms and migraines and bipolar disorder, and it's just like, life sucks. Look, I am a very, very honest person, and I am the kind of person that will happily put myself in check, and I will happily admit things. So yes, while PTSD is not something that you can ever choose, I will definitely admit that I have spent a decent amount of time in the past, almost 6 years, because I left my abuser in 2012. I will admit that I spent not the whole 6 years, but a nice chunk of that feeling really sorry for myself. And it's not just because of the abuse. It's because of how crippling everything is in my brain that of course nobody can see. So of course people are gonna judge me because they don't understand how it works. The reason why I felt sorry for myself is basically because I ended up being in this existential crisis. And that is basically you sitting here wondering, why am I here? Have I done anything substantial? You know, it's not about making money or being famous. It's about why are you here? Do you even have a purpose? That can be dangerous. Everything could be going right in your life. You can have a high-paying job, a family, you're comfortable, everything that you can want, but if you honestly do not know why you're here, it can really be dangerous. As a matter of fact, I know I've mentioned this somewhere, somehow, somewhere on YouTube, because I had talked about a book I read about purpose. It turns out, after God knows how many years of study, that it's the first world countries that have higher rates of suicide. And what they found is that in general, while we're happier, we don't seem to have as much of a sense of purpose as developing countries. And what they meant by happier is not necessarily in mood, but happier in the sense that we have better access to the things we want, you know, as far as pleasure. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to make eye contact. Even on camera, it's still mentally eye contact, so I still won't look. It's like I'm looking at someone's eyes. We can get what we want. And you might think, well, what about poor people? We, as a first world country, still have access to things. I mean, even a woman that is having problems financially can find resources to get a pap smear. You know what I mean? It's just we have more access to things. That's what they meant by happy. But the developing countries, even though they don't have what we have, they seem to have a better sense of purpose. It correlates with, is correlates the right word? Well, I'm going to use it anyway. You can correct me later. It correlates with them having lower suicide rates. It's not that suicide doesn't happen in developing countries, it's lower. And I completely agree with that, because at one point I was making excuses as to why I was so full of worry and anxiety and so sad. And I kept saying, oh, it's because I will never be able to support myself, which might be true. I may never be in a position to support myself, which is scary as I'm getting older. I will be 36 in 11 days. February 12th. You know, I'm always gonna have to depend on someone, but it wasn't about money. It wasn't specifically about having a roof over my head. What was upsetting me was not that I specifically can't support myself because all I have is disability. It was the fact that I can't have a normal job. It has nothing to do with the money. It was like I can't do things that other people can do. And what of course makes it worse is that you can't tell. So according to a lot of people's society who are so ignorant and don't understand, I'm just being lazy. There are so many people who are on disability. It could be from the VA, it could be from Social Security, and they wish they can work right now. And you think that, oh, they're just lying on the couch enjoying themselves while they're taking money. And they wish that they can jump in their car and drive to work right now. And they can't. And that is a horrible feeling. Up until the horrible stuff happened, I always had a job, always paid my taxes. The first job that I tried to have after I got discharged, I was not the same person at all. I was not the same person. It didn't help that I had a stroke around that time, but the point is, no one is okay when they're dealing with domestic violence. Your brain is messed up. You can't. It's over. You cannot think like a normal human being. It's not gonna happen. You don't think normally. I tried to get another job. Once again, my brain is messed up. I'm in abuse mode. I mean, I was in robot mode when I was around him, dealing with the trauma of having to deal with this man every day. But when I would be around other people, I was this monster, and I was subconsciously crying out for help, but I was also alienating people, and I couldn't keep a job. And the third job I tried to have, this was post-trauma. I'm actually very proud of myself because this place was awful. It was not me. It probably was a little bit too much stress for me, but these people are sick human beings, like really messed up, and they don't understand why they have a high turnover rate. It's because they're insane. And I did not get fired. I quit, and I quit because I realized it wasn't worth it. And I pride myself that I lasted 6 months there because I don't see how anybody could last a week there. And a lot of the former employees that I would bump into over the years, they were like, no, they're insane. Like, so I don't feel too bad, but it wasn't the right environment for me. I have to come to terms with my limits, especially when you have a creeper. It's one thing to have bipolar disorder because I am aware enough of that illness that I know when something's wrong. I don't always catch it right away. Like if I have entered a depressive episode, it might be a couple days before I'm like, oh, I'm depressed. And and the hypermania doesn't happen too often, but sometimes it takes other people to notice. My point is I can live with it. I obviously lived with it for years, and the Asperger's is annoying, but I've lived with that all my life. I spent my childhood with people thinking I'm just a wacko and I'm weird, and as an adult, people just think I'm an asshole. And I'm just gonna have to live with that for the rest of my life because I'm not gonna wear a sandwich board that says, hey, I have Asperger's, I'm not an asshole. Think I'm an asshole. I don't have time. But the PTSD is a creeper. I don't know what's gonna come up. I don't know when I'm gonna have an intrusive thought or have a panic attack. I don't know. It's crazy because people have no idea at all. Like if you saw me in public, you would have no idea how much effort it has taken me to leave that house and get to whatever building I was in. I know people see me as a friendly person, and I consider myself a friendly person, but it takes more effort than people think to smile and talk to people, and some people will never get it. Nobody will look at me and see me as disabled. There's plenty of people who don't believe that mental illness can cripple a person or migraines can cripple a person. They don't realize that I'm not doing it to myself. It's not a choice. It affects my sense of purpose because as far as the veterans compensation, I'm gonna receive that whether I have a job or not. Okay, that's how the VA compensation works. Once you have it, you have it. If they decide that a certain condition you have or an injury you have or something has gotten better, then they might decide to change your rating and lower your compensation, like migraines or something, but you're going to get it for the rest of your life unless you're committing fraud or something, which I'm not. But I want to work and I can't. I wish people would get that in their head. There are so many people right now that are on disability and they look perfectly fine, and you think they're just happy and go lucky and they're getting over, or maybe they do have a mental illness, but they're being dramatic and there's no reason why someone should have compensation, and they feel like crap because they wish they could be out there with you working and earning their money. And that's how I feel. I started this video saying that I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, and that is what it is, because I feel like such a loser. I'm like, why do I have to have this brain? Why does it have to be this way? A couple days ago, I remember saying to Derek that if a doctor came up to me and said, hey, we can do this special surgery for you, that if you give me your leg, we can fix this so you can be normal again, I would give up my leg in a second. And I'm not trying to minimalize the way that being an amputee impairs your life. It does change your everyday, and I'm not trying to minimize that, and I hope no one sees it that way. And I'm not necessarily saying that having what I have is worse than missing a limb. I'm just saying that I would give up the limb. If someone said, if you give this person one of your eyes, we will take it away, but like, go on ahead, one eye's fine. I'll get LASIK in the remaining eye, and then I will wear an eye patch, and I will make it look stylish. You might think that means me being dramatic, but I mean that, like, seriously. If someone was like, hey, give us a leg and we'll fix your brain, here you go! Because at least I would be able to get a job missing a leg. I don't need both legs to run a cash register. I don't need both hands to run a cash register. Not real hands, but I kind of need my brain. I need that. You see the difference? I need that. And I felt sorry for myself all these years because I'm a loser. A lot of times for people, existential crises happen when there is a massive change in their life. Just suddenly losing your job and are unable to take care of your family. Or even empty nest can do that to some people. Even something that isn't necessarily negative, like retiring. Some people can't handle retirement. Some people retire from one job and take another, and it could be about money. But for some people, it's like, yeah, I need to stay busy until I drop dead, or I'm going to die from lack of purpose. And that's how some people feel. And that's how I am.